This is a hot dog and a soda. At a Costco food court right now, it costs $1.50. It cost $1.50 in 1985. 40 years of inflation. And the number on that board has not moved once. You can file that away as a fun fact about a warehouse store. Or you can treat it as what it is, evidence. Because a price that refuses to move for 40 years is not an accident. And it is not sentiment. It is the visible edge of the strangest rule in retail. A company that decided out loud how much profit it was allowed to make. It has held that line for 4 decades, while the market kept offering it free money to stop. The rule has an author. In 1954, a 19-year-old in San Diego took a job unloading mattresses from a truck. His name was Jim Sinegal, son of a coal miner and a steel worker. The store was called FedMart, and it belonged to Saul Price. Price, more or less, invented this idea, selling in bulk to members who pay for the privilege of shopping with you. Sinegal did not study that model in a classroom. He worked for Price for 20-odd years on the floor and treated him as a teacher for the rest of his life. He did not inherit a theory. He learned a trade. In 1983, in Seattle, Sinegal and a lawyer named Jeff Brotman opened the first Costco. Almost immediately, the rule appears. Costco caps how much it is allowed to mark anything up. 14% on brands you have heard of. 15% on its own Kirkland signature. Across the store, the average runs around 11%. Normal retail takes 25 to 50. So Costco permanently leaves most of the industry's margin on the table. One honest note, because most retellings skip it. That cap is a rule Sinegal imposed, not a line in any filing. You will not find 14% in a Costco annual report. It was cultural law, not corporate law, which made it stronger, not weaker. Here is what that rule feels like in practice. Sinegal used to tell this story himself. Costco was selling Calvin Klein jeans at $29.99, while other stores were charging $50 or more. Then his buyers landed a shipment at a much better price. So now there is a choice. Keep the price where it is, pocket the difference, $7 a pair, on 500,000 pairs. Nobody would ever know. Or cut the price. They cut the price, $22.99. And listen to how he described the temptation, because he is not pretending it was easy. Do you know how tempting that is? If you got 500,000 pairs of jeans, and you know you can make $7 a pair on them. Well, once you do, that's like taking heroin. You can't stop. If the story ended there, it would just be a story about a decent man. It doesn't, and this is the part that earns the episode. Costco is not being generous. Costco is running a different machine from the one you think you are looking at. Its operating margin, the profit left on everything it does, sits around 3%. 3. Razor thin on purpose. So where does the money come from? Membership. In its 2025 financial year, membership fees brought in $5.3 billion. And that is almost pure profit, because a card costs nothing to make. Costco barely makes money selling you things. Costco makes money when you decide, once a year, to keep being a member. In a recent year, membership was around 73% of the company's entire operating profit, on under 2% of its revenue. So the ceiling on markup is not a sacrifice the business model has to survive. The ceiling is the business model. Every dollar Sinegal refused to take on a pair of jeans was buying something. The certainty in your head that you do not need to check the price. That certainty is what you renew. And you do renew. Over 92% of members in the US and Canada renew their membership year after year. That is the moat. Not the warehouses, not the pallets. A habit of trust, purchased in advance with margin the company chose not to take. There is a version of this story where the founder preaches restraint and does not practice it. So look at what he was paid, because it is all filed with regulators. And it is remarkable. Jim Sinegal's base salary as chief executive was $350,000. The average for a Fortune 100 chief executive at the time was around $1 million. By 2007, He had gone 7 straight years without a raise. In 2006, he declined a $200,000 bonus, the maximum the company allowed, after taking responsibility for mistakes in how employee stock options had been granted. Then there is the company's own proxy statement, explaining to shareholders why their chief executive was paid so little. The compensation committee, it says, wishes to respect Mr. Sinegal's wishes to receive modest compensation, in part because it believes that higher amounts would not change Mr. Sinegal's motivation and performance. Let me be straight about one thing, because the internet usually is not. Sinegal did not take a vow of poverty, counting shares and options. His total compensation in 2007 came to around $3.2 million. As a co-founder holding Costco stock, he became a wealthy man. So this is not a story about a chief executive who refused money. It is narrower and more useful. He refused to be paid like a chief executive in salary, inside a company whose whole promise was that it would not take more than it needed. He kept the rule pointed at himself. That claim survives contact with the filings, which brings us to the hot dog, and to the moment this stops being one man's discipline and becomes something more durable. Years later, Craig Jelinek, Sinegal's successor as chief executive, went to him about the $1.50 hot dog. Costco was losing money on it. He wanted to raise the price. By Jelinek's own account, telling this story publicly in 2018, Sinegal's answer was, "If you raise the effing hot dog, I will kill you. Figure it out." And notice the second half, because that is the whole management philosophy in 3 words. Not eat the loss, figure it out. So they did. Costco took hot dog production in-house, built its own plant, and squeezed the cost down until the price could stay. The number on the board did not move. The company changed instead. So here is the play, and it is not be generous. Anyone can cut a price once. A competitor can match any discount by Friday. What almost nobody can match is a limit you set on yourself and hold for 40 years in public, while the market keeps offering you free money to break it. That is the asset, not the low price, the credibility of the low price. Sinegal understood that the moment he took the extra $7 a pair, he would have to keep taking it. That is what margin does to you. So he built a ceiling, put it in how the company thinks rather than in a document anyone could quietly amend, and pointed it at himself first. Find the number in your own business that you could raise tomorrow, that nobody would notice, and that would leave you slightly richer and slightly less trusted. That is your ceiling. The playbook is deciding now that you will not touch it, and becoming the kind of company where the person who follows you gets told, "Figure it out."